What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Gear Gab here in DC, the Pearl Street Warehouse with Joey and crew. The brothers Landreth are in town, only an hour and a half from us, which is fun. I don't think you guys ever get this close.
No, we did Baltimore once years ago, and there was like literally 3 people at our show.
Ew.
Yeah, you know, it's okay. It was our first time through.
There's a couple clubs. We were talking about that on the way down here. So, like, everybody always skips Baltimore for some reason. And I was like, are people afraid because they've seen The Wire? Because that's not Baltimore necessarily.
I mean, the one time we played in Baltimore, we drove through a neighborhood that looked like the set of The Wire. But that doesn't scare me. I kind of like, I love when a city's got, like, grit and attitude and, oh, you're standing right in front of the camera.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're good on the list, right? Just Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 2?
For 2, yep.
Yeah.
I'll get your table back there.
That sounds good.
Okay.
That's cool.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
All good?
Thank you.
Say your way.
Anyways, I don't even know why we're talking about that, but
Yeah, anyway.
Baltimore's a great place. We'd love to come back. I'm sorry, we you know, we'll do it.
The 8x10 would be a good spot.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Okay.
All right. So, I haven't talked to you in a while. I know you've gotten some new toys, so I wanted to just kind of catch up and talk. Let's start with this.
Yep.
Per usual. Let's do
Yep.
the whole. Start with the guitar. You got the Duesenberg, right?
Yeah, this is sort of still a prototype. So there's things about it that are going to change, but effectively, we've had a friendship with the Duesenberg folks for a long time, and just have loved their stuff for a long time. And you know, one of my first like. One of my first big purchases was a Duesenberg Fullerton TV, a double cutaway, and then I had to sell it to pay my rent when we were on tour. Actually, in Nashville, sold it to a buddy of mine in Nashville, yeah, just always been a long time fan, and they're huge supporters. And so I said to them one time, like, hey, what if we did like a bass and a guitar collab, and did like a Brothers Landreth series? And they were all over it. So we just started scheming and dreaming, and Dave's still working on the bass, but the guitar is effectively like all my heroes in one guitar. So it's a gold foil in the neck, a Strat pickup in the middle, or Strat inspired pickup in the middle.
All right.
And then this is, it started off as being a Telly pickup. So it's like Ry Cooder, Bonnie Raitt, Lowell George was kind of the idea. But they wound up taking like a Telly pickup and pairing it with another coil to turn it into a humbucker.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a bit of a beefier Telly pickup. And so there was 2 prototypes. One had like the straight ahead single coil Telly pickup in it, and then the other one had the humbucker, and I just was drawn to the humbucker one.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the switch configuration is going to change, but on this guitar right now, it's basically, this goes to wherever you are in the pickup selector, it goes straight to the neck pickup.
Oh, cool.
So just like insta, rye. And then this switch right now, because I messed around with the wiring and I rewired it a whole bunch. This one turns on the middle pickup, I think. Basically gives you, it turns on the neck pickup. It adds the neck pickup. So it's either, so if you're in the bridge position and you turn it on, it gives you like, and then if you're in position 2, it's all 3. Which is a sound that I didn't think I would like, but I do like it. But I think we're gonna mess with that a little bit and make it something that is a little more usable for everybody. Because for me, I was like, I think that's cool, and they were like, I don't know that everybody's gonna think that's cool, and we want to make sure that when people buy this guitar, they're gonna like all the things it does. Like, okay, cool, I can get behind that. That makes sense.
So did you pick out like the whole layout, Joe? Like everything in terms of where the switches are, all that? Did you?
No, they did that, and so I said like I love the Paloma, which is this body shape. I love this tremolo, and I wanted it to do all the sounds that my gold top wouldn't do. So I was like, let's make this thing like slinky and spanky, and it'll fill in the gaps of all the things that I get out of my gold top. This thing is going to do everything else.
Okay.
And it does that and beyond. Like, I mean, there are lots of nights when I'll pick up the Duesenberg and just play it all night long. But oftentimes I switch, but midway through the set.
Okay.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this is the first prototype, and the only thing that I really wanted to change was the wiring. I'm a big fan of 50s wiring, so I said like, hey, what do you guys think about? Because they do a more modern kind of setup, and there's a treble bleed, and I've never been nuts about those. So it's kind of like some people love them, some people hate them, and I'm kind of from the latter. So I rewired it with some VIP pots and a fancy cap, and that took it the rest of the way over the finish line for me. So it's like, this is the first prototype, and it's like
Pretty spot on. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, like literally swapped a couple wires around and was like, perfect.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool guitar. And right now it is set up for C, but I have it in E. I put some lighter strings on there and have it set up in E.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that makes sense to have two different flavors with like your gold top and then this.
Well, you know what? It's also like now we have Murray playing with us. There he is. I kind of find the C tuning to get lost a little bit. So it's fun because it's where I'm most comfortable. But yeah. Anyway, I've yet to really like decide where everything's gonna land. But
How many Derek isms are coming out on a night with Open E?
I mean, probably the same amount that usually come out. Which I like. I mean, I can't do any of that shit anyway, so I'm always trying to like not do it. But
Right. All right.
it's
So
a bad impression of Derek trucks.
So that is great. Oh, is the Vibe new?
The Vibe is new. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this whole pedal board is kind of new. I kind of really went to switch things up. So the Vibe, and actually this is a cool story here. But the Vibe is made by a dude in New York named Rick Weaver, and as far as I can tell, and I'm not a Vibe connoisseur like some would be,
Right.
but yeah, it just.
Yeah.
Sounds really, really good. And I have a
Pretty
bunch
good.
of Vibes, and it's the one that every time I plug it in next to the other ones, I'm like, ooh, that one. So he just gets it, and I think it's like Vibes are kind of like anybody can build an overdrive or a fuzz, but the Vibes are really I think you gotta understand the voodoo of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, like somebody like Kenny Wayne Shepherd or Doyle Bramhall will probably have a better way of describing these things than I would, because I'm not like all the way down the rabbit hole. But
It is kind of a new effect for you, I would say.
Well,
I've heard you use it a lot, but
I like it in the vibrato mode, like the pitch shift, and I've used that quite a bit over the years. It's really subtle,
yeah. Yeah, man. That
And
sounds
so
great.
I pull it out on ballads a lot. That's kind of where it winds up being. But then I had him. He started making Weaver started making wah pedals, and so I said, "Hey, sign me up for one. I want one." And I also have a stupid collection of wah pedals. And my favorite one I have is like a late '60s. I think it's a '68 Vox wah that was a very generous gift from a friend of mine in Germany. Michael, and I found another one early '70s when we were playing in Toronto, and there's a great guitar shop called Capsule Music, and it was cheap as borscht, and I plugged it in and it sounded awful.
Oh no.
But it's like it's the Mojo, and it's an old one, and so I bought it anyway, thinking, okay, well I'll fix it up. Like it'll be a bit of a project for me to kind of refurbish it a little bit. And so I was talking to Weaver about his wah, and he said, the only thing is I don't source the enclosures, so if you have a wah that you want to gut or something, if you have something that's kind of vintage Vibe, that's the best, because the throw is right. I said, well, I've got this '70s one that sounds kind of bad, and I was going to fix it up, but you'll do a better job than I would. So he gutted it, and he put his sort of circuit in this thing, and
dude.
yeah.
That like when you rolled your volume back, like it's still like that treble was still cutting in a nice way too.
It's killer. And when you're all the way open, it's a little more mid-rangey, which is cool. So it's a little more. It's got a little more to it.
No punch. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So and then you have, that's the fuzz that you guys just released recently,
This is
right?
the bonk machine that I did with Dan Drive.
Yeah.
This is a prototype, so I can't
All
talk
right.
about that.
I will not put my camera on that.
But it's got a sticker that says pedal for lots and lots of tone. And it sounds very, very good. The release is on the 25th, so if you don't put this video out until the 25th, we can talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is the bonk machine. And that's the last time you'll hear me play like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And then, what's the Kingsley? Is that like a preamp type thing? Like I've heard so much about his pedals, but I've never seen one up close.
So part of the reason that this board is so different than the board that I've been touring with for the last little while is I just went through this big 5E3 Tweed Deluxe thing this year, and I have one made by this dude who builds Magic Amps. That is his company, and sadly he's not doing it anymore, but he built me a Tweed Deluxe, and I didn't really start getting along with it until this year. Like I played it, was like, oh, this thing's awesome. But I just like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand how to dial it in. Mm-hmm. And then I just stumbled onto a sound and realized like, oh, like the whole deluxe thing is like, you really got to go fishing, and it's unbelievable. And now it's like, it's kind of the amp that I record with the most for kind of dirty sounds.
Okay.
And I went out looking, like I was going to tour with it, but funny enough, like in order to kind of get it sound in the way that I was really excited about it, it's just too loud, like, which is hilarious because it's a small wattage amp, and I mean, I have a 100-watt 2-rod, but it's got a very good master volume, which the Deluxe is not. So for the size shows we're playing, it just doesn't make sense for me, and I've never enjoyed playing super loud, so. Anyway, I went in search of like pedals that do a really good job of that. The other one, honorary mention to the Greer Soma 63 is really good.
Oh yeah.
But so the Deluxe 61 is the Origin Effects Brown Face Deluxe, and then this is a Tweed Deluxe sort of preamp section. So it's got a tube in it and everything, but it's like.
Pretty good there,
Pretty good, not too bad, eh?
All right, so contrast that with the other one. I'm so curious, like A, B, and back and forth, how different.
The Deluxe, like
yeah.
Well, so this is kind of set. So it's set a little bit dirty, and it just breaks up, and the mids are right. Like, and it just sounds kind of like an amp. Like, it doesn't sound like an overdrive pedal. It sounds like an amp.
Totally.
And then this on its own. It's obviously a little bit louder, but because I'm using it to boost the Deluxe, but it's very like. I mean, Simon from Kingsley will tell you, a big part of the Deluxe is the power amp, which is not in the pedal. Mm-hmm. But it's very, very like, it's very, very reminiscent of the real thing. But into this, you can hear the Deluxe is attenuating it quite a lot. But.
That gives you a really nice bass floor, though, to move from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. What the hell is the Sir? And I'm gathering you're controlling MIDI through there.
Yeah. So
Morning,
this
sir.
is their analog delay. It sounds really good.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And I picked that up because it does a lot of things for an analog delay. And there's another honorary mention is the Boss DM101. It's really, really killer. But I like this thing because it's got a display. You can see the BPM or the milliseconds.
Yeah.
Which I'm just a nerd for that stuff.
Okay.
Can't help it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that's pretty simple compared to your big board, your giant board. This is like got everything you need.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a break from all of that stuff. I think realistically I'll probably land somewhere in between this and the big guy. Like one thing that I am missing from this board is a switcher, like having the G3, being able to go from like one sound to another completely different sound with just one button push.
Yeah.
And like in my head I was romanticizing like, oh, it's gonna be more organic, and I'm like turning stuff off after solos and just being like, why not I fucking miss my switcher? So
That's great though. I mean, it sounds awesome. That's really all you need. But I mean, when you use the G3, are you programming that per song? Like when you guys write a
Usually,
set list? Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean I have like I have a sort of generic setting that I call the daily driver, and so that's just like for more jammy tunes, like tunes that don't have, I want to have access to all my different pedals, and I can turn them on kind of one at a time.
Okay.
But a lot of the songs do have individual presets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and tempo mapping and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And then you're going into your 2-rock, your
Yes, sir.
signature 2-rock. And then are you using the tremolo on that? Like, do you have a foot? Or are you just leaving it on all the time?
You know what? I just ran out of space for the switch for the tremolo, so I've been using the trem on the deluxe.
Oh.
This
Sounds
is
pretty good, man.
This is gonna be better.
Yeah. Good God.
And then there's the bias.
How long was that amp in development?
Well, from the very first conversation to like getting the final prototype was 7 years.
Whew.
But like the first conversation was like, hey, would you ever do an amp with harmonic tremolo? No, definitely would never do an amp with harmonic tremolo. And then like a couple years later, like, oh, I kind of can't stop thinking about making an amp with harmonic tremolo. And then
Eli said that.
yeah, and then
Okay.
it was the beginning of the pandemic when like it was early 2020, and he called me. He was like, let's do it.
Okay.
So we all have time off now, so
Yeah.
let's go for it.
Good for you,
So-
man. Good timing. Well, not great for the world, but good for the
Terrible
amp.
for the world, but it was good for me because I got a wicked amp out of it. But
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
so good. And then, what acoustic were you guys playing? I saw that you and Murray both. Did you guys both have Martins?
Yeah,
What-
we're test driving a couple of custom shop Martins, and they're beautiful.
Okay, they sound awesome.
They're really, really gorgeous. Yeah,
Okay. Sweet.
yeah, we're spoiled. We get some nice stuff. I don't own a car, but I got some nice gear,
You got a van. You can get around in a van a little
and
bit.
I do.
All right. Well, is there? I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, this is pretty stripped down. You get.
It's really straight ahead. I mean, yeah, I think that's it for me.
Yeah. All right, man.
Volume pedal, Schnobel tone, tuner, volume mod.
Oh, that taper's pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
It's nice and smooth.
I like the Laylee or Layla one as well, the little one, but this is kind of, it's also awesome because it's got a tuner in it.
Yeah.
Saves some footprint.
Yeah, man. It's awesome.
Only needs one power.
Yeah.
Well,
if that's it. I mean, how much longer are you guys on the road? Like, what's the rest of this tour looking
Dave and I
like?
get home May 2nd. I think our last show is the 30th, I believe, in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And then we fly the boys home, and Dave and I drive the van back
Cool.
to Winnipeg, drive across the whole country, literally from No, well, not across. Yeah, well, yeah, across your country.
Straight up.
Yeah, straight up. Just shoot an arrow.
Yeah.
Tie us to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, dude, thank you so much for making time. Everybody, go see this band on the road. Listen to all the music. Buy all the stuff. They're amazing.
Broslandreth.com. TheBroslandreth.com. Go
Yes,
check
indeed.
out our dates and come see us if you want.
Tyeah. Thanks, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Peace.